Hello, friends. Welcome to episode 80 of the Shauna Stitches podcast. I'm Shauna, and this is my YouTube channel where I talk about all the crafty things that I have been working on lately. Thank you so much for being here today. It is January the 13th, 2024, and it's Saturday, and we are currently having a freezing rainstorm. We don't get much snow or ice here on the Oregon coast where I live, and needless to say, this shuts everything down. Our mail isn't being delivered, many of the streets around me are being closed, and I just told my husband I think he needs to call into work tonight because he works about 30 minutes away. I was going to say miles, but it's 30 minutes away. You add ice to that, and it's probably an hour and a half commute if you can make it there safely at all. I will insert a picture, but I just took a picture of our back patio, and it's probably about a quarter inch of ice. So, what a perfect day to stay inside and knit. I hope that you have a warm beverage. If it's warm or if it's cold where you are. If it's warm, maybe you have a cool beverage. I am drinking some black coffee in my crazy sock lady mug. And you can probably hear the wind just rattling outside. On top of everything else, we have like 40-mile-per-hour gusts. So definitely planning that we are going to lose some power at some point, especially with the weight of the freezing rain. So guess we better get this done while we still have light. So I've been very busy. Before I show you what I've been working on, I will say that everything will be linked down below, including where you can find me on Ravelry and Instagram, everywhere as Shauna Stitches. If you caught my last video, my 2024 plans video, I mentioned that I was going to be working on some old whips and trying to get those maybe not cleared out, but lessened. And I have my first finished old whip. Can you believe it? These are the 2021 Freckled Whimsy Advent socks, or skein. Mine are socks. And I used the Solar pattern. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. It's only a 2-row repeat, but isn't it so cool what it does to stripes? I love that little staggered effect. It couldn't be easier either. I cast these on cuff down November of 2021. So that would have been just the cuff, and I'm pretty sure December 1st is when I started the color. And when I just recently picked these up, I had both socks just at the last gusset decrease. They were as many stitches as I needed, and I knit all of my socks for me, unless they have color work or cables, on a 2.25 millimeter 9-inch circular is my preference. And 64 stitches. That's my sock recipe, or standard sock, whatever you want to call it. So those are done. It feels so good to have one done. And if I look on my Ravelry projects, I think that puts me down to 56 whips or something like that. If you go into the advanced search on your projects, it will show you how many it shows are whips. Now, I can't say that all those are actually whips because, as I mentioned before, some of them are projects that I either set up the page but never cast on, or just watch and never cast on. So anyway, that's like 56. And then I finished something else. My January Desert Vista Dyeworks socks. There are 2. And this is the colorway by Desert Vista Dyeworks that is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle inspired. It's called Teenage Zombody Turtles because it's supposed to have the Zombody colored mini to go with it, and I decided to leave that out. I asked my husband, because these are for him, if he would like it, and he kind of said he did, but then I mentioned that the colors didn't really seem to match to me, and luckily I have a friend who also knits a lot of Desert Vista Dyeworks, and I showed them to her and she agreed they didn't quite match. So I have that many that will go for something else. These are the Blueberry Waffles pattern, which is meant for DK, but I've had 0 issues putting that into a fingering weight pattern. I use my normal stitch count, which for my husband is 72, and for him, I use a 2.5 millimeter, still 9-inch circular, cuff down, and I always pull from the outside of the ball, but I use the inside of the ball when starting the heel flap and heel turn so that my stripes stay consistent. And this is a semi-ribbed pattern. It's a 4-row repeat. Also very easy to keep track of. And so it adds some stretchiness, some snugness, but gives you some rest knit only rows. So this is probably his absolute favorite sock pattern that I've ever made for him. This is probably his 3rd pair of blueberry waffle socks, and all of my Desert Vista Dyeworks socks this year are going to be blueberry waffles. I think I have maybe only 1 pair, 1 or 2, but they fit really well. So if you're looking for a good fitting, free pattern, I can highly recommend this one. Other than the DRK everyday socks, I've never done just an all-out like 2x2 rib sock, and I would like to do that using the heel flap version. I would really like to try that. So those are both of my finished objects, which isn't too bad, I think. 2 down. And let me show you what else I've been working on. I started taking some notes as to what I've been working on, which I think is a good thing because honestly, sometimes I just forget, especially, wow, I have ends everywhere. Especially something like this where I honestly couldn't remember if I had worked on this since I showed you. And maybe I have, maybe I haven't. This has not been seeing a ton of love since the end of December, but my notes say I did work on it a little bit. So I've just cast on this purple square. I think this is either day 18 or 19 for my advent calendar. And I would like to finish this square so that I can get the teenage turtle square done in my blanket. I don't think I want to save those for December this next year. Maybe I will, we'll see. Because also I don't want to run out. I want enough for my scrappy socks in December. So I'm not decided yet. I had roughly 20 grams left, I think. That sounds right. 22, that's how much it was. 22 grams left. So that should be more than enough for a stripe sequence in 2 pairs of socks plus a square. I didn't run out of any of them this year when doing squares, but I also didn't knit my husband any socks. This pair here, these were 87 grams total, and luckily he doesn't like a tall leg because it's a US men's 13. It's not a small foot. So that's my Cozy Memories blanket. I am using 2.75 millimeter signature needles on those, but any 2.75 millimeter needle would work. And I do 46 stitches, pretty much per pattern. The only thing I do differently other than the pattern is what do? I slip the first stitch and I knit through the back loop of the last stitch. And all of that is in my notes on my Ravelry page, because when I set that aside for a long time and then I pick it back up, I will sometimes forget and I need to go check my notes. So not only are they helpful for you, they are helpful for me too. I have another scrappy blanket that saw a little bit of love, and before I open up this bag, isn't that so cute? My husband got me this for Christmas, and I have a shirt that matches exactly, except for the shirt is blue, but it has the same Chihuahua flower logo, and Chihuahuas are near and dear to my heart. So inside this bag, I have a blanket that you haven't seen in a very long time. This is my Crochet Puff Stitch Hexagon blanket, and it's getting pretty big. Between this and my Cozy Memories, I'm not sure which is bigger, but I feel like they are pretty close. And the reason this saw some love was because I did a bunch of cleaning out of my craft stuff, which not just what you saw in my last video, but I had a bunch of craft stuff in my living room that I didn't bring in here. And I went through project bags. I have these little woven baskets that sit on my end tables or in my end tables that has like little shelves, and I just had like old stuff thrown in there, little balls of yarn, all kinds of things. And in that I found days, I think 4 and 5 or 5 and 6 of the advent calendar I told you I was still adding to my cozy memories. And my plan for those, any of the leftovers, were to go in here. So because I just had those 2 random ones that were already in my cozy memories but needed to be added in here, I just decided to, as I was cleaning up, sit down and crochet those into my blanket, because that's what you do when you need a distraction from doing things you should be doing, right? At least I do. I'm trying to see here. This is actually the front. So from that advent calendar, I can tell you, let's see here, this red and purple, that is day 1 of that advent calendar. The blue is day 2. The purpley pink is day 3. And that's the one that I was working on when I picked this up. Day 4 is this kind of teal and brown. And then 5, try not to hit my microphone, 5 is this multicolor with like yellow. So I love this, and what's great about this project, or any crochet scrap project like this, is that you can use up every last bit. So I absolutely love that, and I do have a tutorial on my channel, which I will link down below. If I get really fancy and I can figure it out, which I don't have no clue how, but those people that put the link there, or is it there, one of those places, I'll try and do that. And I will link the tutorial if you would like to make your own crochet puff stitch hexagon blanket. It's really a wonderful pattern. And I didn't write it, I just made the tutorial because I couldn't figure it out at first, and I couldn't find anything that explained how to do it. So once I figured it out, I thought, why not help others? And it is not like a top-notch tutorial in that the video quality could be better, but I think it gets the point across, and many people have said that they have figured out how to do it from my video, so it must be doing the job. Other people make better videos, but I haven't found one for this, so anyway, it's there if you want it. Okay. And what else? I have one more project I've been working on. When I got done with Glenn's socks, I picked up my Lochcorran Vest, and it's very hard to show at this point because it just wants to curl up on itself. But I've gotten part of the yellow added in there. There we go. We have all the colors in here now. Both of the grays, the yellow pineapple, and the pinky orangey red color. So here's my swatch where you can see it better. That is one pattern repeat. So you can see I'm about right here. So I'm maybe halfway through a repeat. And I cannot wait for this to start, you know, looking bigger and better and just being able to see it more clearly, because right now it doesn't look like a whole lot. And I really don't want to lose stitches. This is an easy pattern. It's a 12 stitch repeat, so not a huge long repeat that you have to remember. It's pretty memorizable. Usually after I do maybe 3 repeats of the certain sequence for that row, then I can just go on autopilot. It's not too hard. And what else to say? It only uses 2 colors at a time, so there is no 3 color work, and that is wonderful. I do not know what size needles I'm knitting this on. It's whatever the pattern tells you. It's a 3.25 millimeter, and maybe the ribbing was done on a 2.75. Sounds correct. I'm using Holst Garn Supersoft for this, and my 2 grays. I really do wish I would have picked more contrasting grays, but I think it's going to work out. This one, the lighter is flannel gray, the darker is slate gray, and I've already told you the yellow is called pineapple. I really, for not being a yellow person, I love this color. It's so pretty. And the orangey, pinky red is Rose Garden. I think those two just look so good together. So that is that. So I've been good, other than my Desert Vista Dyeworks socks, which I told myself I would be working on a new pair every month. That's my only new cast on. I've had a couple things where I'm like, oh, that would be really awesome to cast on, but I've been good, and I have not been tempted to buy any yarn, which sounds crazy. I do have some yarn coming to me, but those are my Desert Vista Dyeworks prizes, and I was able to pick out one free one for posting over 100 posts on Instagram about my socks throughout the year. And the second one is a surprise. It's the exclusive colorway to the people who completed all 12 months of projects. So I'm very excited to see what she comes up with for that. And what else? I need to pick a new easy project. Not a new one, but a old whip, because I've been reading a ton, an absolute ton. This year so far, I have finished Fourth Wing, which was like 600 and some pages, and Iron Flame, which was almost 900 pages. I just finished that this morning, and as everyone says, oh my gosh, they need to come out with the next book, because as they do, they left it on a cliffhanger. Looking for my coffee. So I've been loving knitting and reading. I can work on something simple like this and read no problem. In fact, I have a lot of this pair here. I knit while walking on my treadmill and reading. So if 2 things for multitasking are good, 3 are better, right? But I absolutely cannot do that color work and read. I just have to look and focus and remember the repeat in my head. So it doesn't work, and I really want to be working on that vest, but I also really want to be reading. I don't really set New Year's resolutions, but I do set goals, and obviously one of my goals is whips, and my other goal is reading, and I've really been enjoying it. So I don't know. I have the Kindle app and also an actual Kindle reader, and they have these challenges where there's different things that you can do. It tracks how many days in a row you read, and it tracks how many days a month that you read, plus it has special other little, what do you call them, achievements almost, that you can earn. And you know, one's for like a perfect reading week, and then there's certain categories, like Fourth Wing fulfilled a category that I earned one for because it was like a bestseller or whatever. So I've been doing a lot of that. I've been working, and what else, just trying to get in better shape, as people do at the beginning of the year. But I'm, you know, obviously I started before that, but I've been riding my Peloton bike and walking on the treadmill and trying to do things that I want to do, not necessarily that I make myself feel like I have to do. Like, I actually do really like walking on my treadmill, especially when I can read and knit at the same time. That becomes actually enjoyable. What else? I'm off work next week. I'm so excited. I do want to get a lot of knitting done, but I also want to get back into making my quilt squares for my block of the month from Erica Arndt. I'm trying to remember what her channel is, and I don't remember, but I will link those tutorials down below. She is supposed to be coming out with the tutorial on how to put all the squares together this month, and I've only made 6 of the squares, which is fine. I don't have a deadline. But I did skip all of December for making squares, so I would really like to get back to that. And I should have enough time to at least make 1 square, maybe 2. I've also signed up for another block of the month with a friend of mine, and that one is sweet potato quilts, I believe is what it's called. And We are actually doing last year's version, which is great because all the squares are out, and that means that we can go at whatever speed we want. If we are faster, then we don't have to wait for the next month to come out. She only does quilting, so she's going to be a lot faster than I am, I think, but it's fun to have someone else to kind of work through it with. And what else? I think that's about it. I hope that you guys are warm and snuggled in and not having to work today, especially if your weather is like mine. And if you are on the other hemisphere, I hope that you're staying cool enough. Yeah, I can't think of anything else. So I am going to edit and upload, hopefully while we still have power, and work on my vest some more. I will talk to you all soon. Bye.